I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha until the heart of enlightenment is reached for the benefit of all sentient beings. Take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha until the heart of enlightenment is reached for the benefit of all sentient beings. I take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, the Sangha until the heart of enlightenment is reached for the benefit of all sentient beings. I take refuge in the precious line of teachers who manifest a unified state of Vajradhara, holder of the diamond vehicle, identical in essence with Mahamudra, the great seal of voidness, the path by which all experience is transformed into wisdom and compassion. I take refuge in the union of wisdom and compassion, the empty, luminous field, a field of non-clinging awareness with no boundaries and no obstacles. I take refuge in the realization of the nature of mind, liberation which is free of suffering and non-suffering. I take refuge in the interconnectedness of all phenomena and the bliss of manifestation. I take refuge in the illumination of the undying bodhicitta. Okay. So, I hope you're all staying connected with your practice during these days, during these weeks. We're always, of course, pointing to the same thing. We're always pointing to that which is most inward within ourselves. When we say we take refuge in the Buddha or in the Vajrayana prayer, in the Vajradhara, we're taking refuge in our own Buddha nature. We're taking refuge in the essential essence of our being. And I hope you are getting a sense of that within your practice, that sense of presence. I gave a talk the other week on that calm is the doorway. And really what we are doing is we're continually being mindful, watching ourselves as we get caught up in distraction, as we get caught up in narrative and conjecture, as we get caught up in our description of what is taking place. And none of that is what is taking place. That's the thing. Everything that we experience is impermanent in its nature. So we're engaged in the world, we're involved in the world, we're involved in relationships, we're involved in idea, we're involved in situations, but it's really important to know, and it's really important to be able to dwell in that sense of knowingness, that sense of awareness, to know that all of these manifestations are essentially not self and not permanent. And we tend to battle with ourselves. We battle with our proclivities, and in the Theravadan terminology, with our kilesas, our attachments and our greed and our confusion and our desires and all of those things. But really, it's important to know that none of that is us. None of those battles need to be. And we only take all of those manifestations with the seriousness that we do because our understanding or our experience of our essential nature is not firm enough. It's not deep enough. And so we need to continually turn our attention inwards to that aspect of knowing, that aspect of presence that's within ourselves. We use a lot of words, we use a lot of ideas to describe experience, but essentially we need to come to that place of silence, of that place of sitting in open, spacious silence. And we need to develop the ability to connect with that in a really deep and meaningful way. And we need to develop an ability and confidence in that connection. Is that once we've touched that, once we've had a glimpse of that, once we've been able to develop that, is to develop confidence in A, the fact that it is a deeper essential truth, and B, it's what it is we actually are, and C, that we can access it. That we too have the ability to be what it is we essentially are. There's a quote by Tsoknyi Rinpoche: as we go through life, we accumulate layers of ideas about who we are and what we're capable of achieving. As these layers accumulate, we tend to become increasingly rigid in our identification with certain views about ourselves and the world around us. Gradually, we lose our connection to the basic openness, clarity, and love that is the essence of our being. In some circles, they talk about the higher power, connecting with the higher power. Well, that higher power is our own awareness. That higher power is our own presence. That higher power is what it is we actually are. But we accumulate all these layers over the years. We accumulate all these experiences, all these ideas. And we lose sight of that. So we take refuge in the path by which all experience is transformed into wisdom and compassion. Another way of saying that is we make a determination to use whatever experience that comes up to be part of our path. to be part of the doorway in. As I said a few moments ago, I gave a talk a few weeks ago about how calm is the doorway. Another thing you can say is being present with our experience is the doorway. And taking whatever presents itself as path. This is the way, being with this experience. And that's really difficult at times. It's really, really difficult. But really, there is no tomorrow. It's going to be better tomorrow. It's how we deal with this present moment, how we relate to this present moment, is in fact what the future will be. How we deal with what's happening today is in fact what the future will be. And it doesn't matter if you succeed or fail. It doesn't matter on some level if you get caught. It doesn't matter if you lose it. How could it? If we are talking about a deeper essential nature of what it is we are, how could we ever be separate from it? How could we ever change it? And how could whatever we do affect it? But our actions and our intentions create that space where we're either using whatever comes up as path, we are creating a world for ourselves where all experience is transformed into wisdom or compassion, or not. So if we trip up, if we get caught, as long as we are able to contemplate that and see it and use that experience as path, as growth, then we're connecting with a higher power. We're connecting with our essence. And the suffering we have, don't we tend to just go around and round in circles with our patterns? Coming back to the same day? And the reason we do is because there's something there for us to learn. In some ways, it's a good thing about having a not very eventful, boring life. Because you can keep practicing. You can, okay, here I am again. Same apartment, same job, same people, same stuff in the fridge. You should rejoice in that. Why would you ever want to go away, Andrea? Why would you ever want to adventure? It just distracts you. Every day the same. Every day the same. Oh, God. But the truth is, if we truly mine our experience, then that changes what the day feels like. That changes what the present moment feels like. And so we are presented with this, with our life. We are presented with the life we have, and I'm not for a minute not suggesting that we shouldn't go on grand adventures and have lots of fun and all those things. But in the meantime, what's today presenting? And this is what we got. But our ability to connect with openness and clarity in love, in whatever presents itself, our ability to transform all experience into wisdom and compassion, that's where the power lies. That's where our strength lies. And I do hope you end up on a mountaintop. And I do hope that all your trees bear fruit. But we know there's going to be other times, don't we? We know there's going to be other things happen as well. It's that Zen saying, the great way is not difficult for he who has no preference. That's the point. That's where the freedom lies. That's where the freedom lies. And so this great blessing that we have of this kind of boring life. It's, there's not too much, generally speaking, for most of us, a little bit of this, a little bit of that. And of course, there's the things that happen in our lives with our health and the health of our loved ones and so on and so forth. But on a day-to-day basis, a lot of stuff tends to be pretty steady Eddie. But this is where we can do the work. This is where we can do the work. You practice. I'm going to try this one again. I'm going to try this again. And we begin to understand it's the stuff that happens in our daily life, the minutiae of our daily life. That's where we can find the magic. That's where we can transform whatever appears into wisdom and compassion. I know we want more. But when we really begin to look and develop our practice, we begin to have a feeling, a sense of this light that's shining through us that is complete in itself. When we continue on with our daily practice, on and off the cushion, we begin to experience this light that flows from within ourselves. That gives us a feeling of completeness. All the other stuff is good, but it doesn't compare to this. It doesn't compare to that. So we chase, chase, chase. But that's not what the Buddha taught us. The Buddha taught us to look within and to find the Vajradhara, the Buddha essence within ourselves. And how do we find that? By being with each day, by being with each experience. Calm, meditation, really create a very nice foundation. But it's looking into the experience of the present moment. This is what allows the light to shine through. Okay, maybe we'll leave it at that for this evening. So when we take refuge, when we say we take refuge, it means we keep turning our attention back to our essence. And we don't allow ourselves to get too high or low on the events of the present moment, on the events of the day. Keep allowing ourselves to come back to this sense of openness, this sense of clarity.